So every day, my YouTube and my Facebook have been plagued and covered in questions about my septum piercing. So I have decided to make just a whole video about it. It's going to be very long. It's going to have a lot of information. So yeah, have fun with that. My septum piercing has been the most controversial piercing I have ever gotten. In 2000, and I don't give a fuck, I made a video about just asking the general public if they thought it would look good with a septum piercing, and a girl, whom I do not remember the name, got really angry with me over it and she made a hate video, caused my parents to freak out, and it's even gotten me in trouble at work. But after all that, it's still one of my favorites, so that's a fun fact. Question: did it hurt? Personally, no. And septum piercings generally should not hurt. If your septum piercing does hurt a ridiculous amount, chances are it's not being pierced properly. When you pierce the septum piercing, it's supposed to go through something called the sweet spot, which is just a very thin piece of skin in around the cartilage. But if you're getting it pierced by someone who isn't professional, or you're doing it yourself or whatever, chances are you might miss it and you hit the cartilage, which hurts really, 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 really bad. And personally, when I actually pierced my septum, it didn't hurt almost at all. But for the next 3 days, I was really wishing I was Voldemort, because it was swollen and sore, and it felt like I had a gigantic booger in my nose that I couldn't pick, and it hurt, and it was just awful. But after I got over those 3 days, life has been pretty good. Fact: the septum piercing can be one of the thinnest piercings on the body if it's pierced through the sweet spot. It's only a couple of layers thick. Question: how long does it take to heal? Now, this will depend. If you pierce it through the sweet spot, it should only take 4 to 6 weeks to heal. But if you pierce it through the cartilage, it can take 3 to 9 months to heal. So make sure you go to a reputable piercing artist who knows what a sweet spot is, where the sweet spot is, and will pierce you through the sweet spot. Fact: since the septum piercing is so thin, it's really easy to get crooked. And if you use something like a safety pin to pierce it, the needle will dull as it's going through your nose. So if you're getting nervous and you're taking a while to push it through your nose, the needle will dull as it goes through, and the exit hole will be more will have more trauma in it than for the entry hole, because it dulled as it went through. So the one side will swell more and it'll look like it's crooked. So if you have a septum piercing and it's brand new and it looks a little crooked, give it a few days, let the swelling go down, and then reevaluate. Question: is it hard to blow your nose? Personally, I say yes, it is very difficult to blow my nose, because bogies get stuck on my septum piercing, which sucks. But it doesn't prevent me from being able to blow my nose. It took a little bit of getting used to, which is the way that it is for almost every piercing. So just, if you want your septum pierced, don't let that, it's nothing. You just gotta learn how to do it a little bit differently. No big deal. Fact: septum piercing has also been known to take out teeth. If you wear jewelry that is too big for your anatomy, or maybe you're stretching your septum so it's really, really big, if you get hit in the face, the septum, it has happened on numerous occasions where the jewelry will go through the upper lip into the top teeth and break them. That sucks. It's something I would never expect from a septum piercing. Question: what is your least favorite thing about the septum piercing? I have a really hard time, because I live in Canada, so it's really cold. I'm having a really hard time with running noses. Snot or whatever bogies can get stuck in behind here, and I won't even really notice it or feel it. So it can lead to a little bit of embarrassment, and sometimes bogies get stuck on the septum piercing and I won't even notice, so it's kind of gross. Fact: the septum piercing is actually really easily hidden. It's the easiest of all the facial piercings to hide, because you don't really need special jewelry, and your own anatomy helps you hide it. Question: what's your favorite thing about the septum piercing? It doesn't get in the way of anything. All my ear piercings can get in the way if I'm taking shirts on or off or whatever. I have never had anything just accidentally run into my septum piercing. It's never happened. Love it. I love that so much about it. Fact: certain Native American tribes used to use septum piercings as a way to show to the world that their sons are growing up. Question: do you have any last minute tips for me I'm gonna go get my septum pierced. Seriously, keep it clean. I've had my septum pierced for about 5 months now. I still clean it. After every shower, I take a Q-tip and swab the inside just to take out any crusties or bogies that might be in there, because it's really, really annoying and it can hurt the piercing. And while it's healing, make sure you keep it clean, because if you get any bogies stuck on it and then, I don't know, you hit it or you move it, you can like force the bogey into your nose, which hurts so damn bad. So just do your best to keep it clean. Fact, I am out of facts about the septum piercing. Question, how long will it take for me to be able to flip it up? You can flip up the septum piercing right after you get it done, but for the first about 4 weeks, you shouldn't play with it a whole lot, because every time you play with it, it disrupts the tissue on the inside of the piercing, which is called the fistula, or wherever you want to say it, for wherever you are in the world, tomato, tomato. It disrupts that very sensitive tissue, which is trying to heal. So if you keep playing with it, flipping it up and down, up and down, up and down, it can disrupt the healing and make it take longer to heal. It can also lead you to getting more infection. So personally, when I pierced my septum, I put a 16 gauge barbell through it, like curved barbell. So I couldn't flip it up or down, it just sat there. And then when I was in Toronto, after about 4 weeks of having it done, I got a professional to swap it into this bar, and this is the one that I can flip up and down and whatever. Question, how big can I get my septum pierced at? 16 is the minimum gauge that a piercing artist really should pierce you at. 14 to 12 gauge is the preferred size. 10 if you have a really, really big anatomy. But remember, the septum piercing is a stretchable piercing. So getting pierced at a small gauge isn't a big deal. You can always stretch it up later. So yeah, that's all the important things that I think anyone should know if they're going to get their septum pierced. If you have any questions that I haven't spoken about, feel free to leave them in the comments. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video.